murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'ma put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, my boy, Guapo. What's poppin', baby?
Oh, I was not expecting that. You caught me off guard.
How you feeling today?
I'm doing good.
Chilling?
I have a question for you, Connie.
Oh, God, here we go.
So I listen to a lot of rap music.
Okay.
You might have noticed that when we're driving to work.
Yeah.
Can I sing the songs the way I normally sing them, like when I'm by myself? Or do I have to like...
Bro, you don't self-report.
So I'm not exactly sure. What do you mean by this?
All right. What's going on, Burke? How are you today?
You can't self-report like that. Also, when did I get the freezy frame lower third?
You're good.
No, it's only with the lower third, but I thought it was only on Conrad's. I learned this the hard way when I moved to Vegas.
No,
relax. Not like that. Secondhand experience. I played adult baseball out here, like the first 5 years I lived here, and there was a kid on my team that I think he was like half Mexican, half American, whatever, like white basically, but he looked very white. I had no idea that he was Latino, and his best friend on the team was black, and they just talked to each other like they had grown up their whole lives, you know, both being black
in a certain vernacular.
Just a lot of N-words between the two of them, and I was the first day I showed up, I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna fight! Like, they're just gonna fight. This is bad. This is definitely bad." And then I like overheard it, and I kind of made a joke about it. I was like, "I thought you guys were gonna fist fight or whatever," and they were both just like, "Oh no, like only white people don't get the pass. Like we've all been oppressed."
Right.
So I think you're semi good, Guap.
Yeah, you're okay.
As long as you keep eating those tortillas.
Okay.
Well, getting paid in tortillas.
Yeah, well, cost of flour is
Burke, are you
down.
gonna get back into those adult baseball leagues anytime?
No.
The arm is done.
Is it actually adult baseball league, or are we talking about softball?
No, it was baseball. I still play softball occasionally, but it's boring.
One of the best nights in Vegas ever was Berkey was playing. I don't know, we might have told the story before, but he was pitching in this like adult league, and let's just say he was like the Paul Skeens, if you will, of the league.
You'll have to tell me who Paul Skeens is.
He's the number one prospect in all baseball. He's on the Pirates, and he's coming up this weekend.
Right.
Anyways,
He's a member of the 100-mile-an-hour club.
Yeah, 102. But Berkey threw 85, which was fast in that league, probably. Yeah. So they make it all the way to the championship.
Yeah.
And so they play at this
Okay,
the field was like a replica of
it's Big League of Dreams.
Yeah.
And they have them here and I think in San Diego. And they replicate Major League fields. So the one here has Wrigley, Fenway, old Crosley Field for the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
Angels Stadium, whatever
Right.
the hell the name of that is, and Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So we were playing on Wrigley replica.
Right.
But what you have to understand about Big League of Dreams is that it's a softball complex.
Yeah.
So it's only like 333 around the park.
Mm-hmm.
At most. It might actually only be like 300 around the park. And for anybody who's not familiar with baseball dimensions, usually it's like a minimum 315 down the lines, and like that's a short yard. Usually it's more like 330 and like 400 to dead center. So we're playing in basically a little league field.
Right.
And I'm mowing these motherfuckers down.
So Berkey says, "Hey guys, I'm playing in this championship. If you guys want to come by, it's at this really cool, Big League of Dreams or whatever it's called." And he's like, I think our first question was, well, do they have beer?
Right.
And he said, yeah, there's a bar. It's literally, they have a little concession stand, just like you're, at a big league park. So we're like, all right, well, I like to rail. This is me getting to rail you instead of like, playing
Say it again for the
poker.
people.
Rail you to rail you. And so they had Blue Moon on tap, which was amazing.
Right. High quality shit.
And we all came, we showed up, and we did what we do at a final table, only at a baseball game, and it was amazing. We got hammered, screaming. The Berkey couldn't even hear. He didn't know what the pitch count was because he couldn't hear the ump. Because every single time we threw the ball, no matter if it was a strike, a ball, they hit it, we were just like, strike! So loud, so obnoxious. But, I know you loved every minute of it.
I loved it. So I ended up
I
throwing.
don't know about the rest of the players.
I ended up throwing a 2-hit shutout.
Absolutely destroyed them.
And winning
which
the
made
game.
it so much better.
But like what I don't know if I even communicated to you guys because you were drunk and it was beyond.
Oh, it was so much fun.
It was beyond any recourse at that point. But like after the third inning, I came in and my manager was like, "Hey, you have to tell them to stop." And I laughed in his face.
You're like, no.
I just literally laughed in his face. I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "They can't behave like this." I go, "What are you talking? This is a sporting event, sir.
Right.
Like you should be encouraging this." He goes,
Yes.
"The other team is going to fight them." And I go, "Good.
Yeah.
They're drunk. They're looking for some fists. Like let's fucking go.
Hey, you know what? You don't want us to act like that. Maybe,
Hit the ball."
Yeah, make some contact. Foul something off at least. Jeez, it would have never been as good if if it was just a normal game and you were like giving up some hits, some runs, but
Right.
no, you were literally just dominant over
Dealing.
them. And we
Absolute
just
dealing.
let them have it,
Yeah.
which probably made it even worse.
I think a lot of the success was accredited to you guys.
Thank you.
Actually,
Thank you.
I don't know.
Home
that
field
they-
advantage is a real
Right.
thing.
Yes, precisely. You know what? Hey, pay your friends to come out and get drunk.
Right.
And talk shit when we're at the
Exactly.
plate. Like
Yeah.
that's just the way this goes. I remember very specifically Fildo being like the most obnoxious human being I've ever met in my life. Like he was like, what would happen if there was no decorum to being an umpire?
Right.
And your whole job as the ump was to show up the hitter. Like that was Phil on every single pitch. Smack behind home plate. I mean,
Right.
like it's 3 feet between the umpire
Right,
and the
you guys
stands.
got to understand, we are right on top of the team of the players.
Yeah,
So-
this was a la the fan getting the Yankees manager thrown out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time, man. No, after I tore my ACL, strangest thing happened.
Moved into softball.
I did move. Well, no, that's how I tore
It's
my
like an
ACL.
old man
That's actually
supposed to
how
do.
I tore my ACL.
Oh, that's right.
But no, the strangest thing happened, and I think it was just like years of abuse. But because I rehabbed my leg, it came back. I've never had any problems. I'm stronger than ever. Like no pain, nothing. But I didn't do anything for like to stay in baseball shape. And when I came back a year later and tried to throw a ball, my arm was literally dead. And I don't mean like pain.
Just
I mean
dead
just dead arm. Like
Right.
like I couldn't throw from middle of center field, not even like shallow center field to the plate. So like 100 feet, which that's warm ups whenever you're active. Just never recovered. And I don't know if that's like, I don't think it's a if you don't use it you lose it kind of thing. I think it was more just I probably built up a ton of scar tissue over the years from throwing,
And then
and then just like kind of stiffens, and I probably have like a partially torn rotator and a torn fucking labrum and all these other things that scarred over the year of no use.
it's like the trajectory of like a college athlete who's not quite good enough to be like in the pros. It's like you play college ball and then you move to adult league baseball and then you move to softball and then you move to pickleball.
Right. Yeah. I think pickleball was usurp a lot of that coming. I mean, honestly, there are young kids like I sponsor a girl, or I did. She actually just got signed by a major brand. Lauren, she's 16 and on the pro pickleball tour.
Yeah.
So it's like she's homeschooled. She travels around the country. She's in Cincinnati right now.
Craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
On the
her
way
brother is like 13 and attempting to do the same thing.
Well, the craziest shit ever. When we were on the flight back from
Miami.
She was her and her mom were in my row.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, that's
literally,
right.
they were
That's right. You had
middle
like a
of left.
selfie
I
with
was-
them. Yeah.
I was like, how weird is that?
Right.
Yeah, pickleball's a thing, man. It's a thing, and it's a weird thing too because like you don't need any particular attributes to be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe I don't know golf.
Sure, hand-eye coordination.
hand-eye
No,
coordination is
you need to be an
probably-
athlete.
Right.
That is a given
Oh,
for
I
any
understand.
sport.
Like you don't have to be tall or
fast or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I imagine like I don't know a ton about golf, but I imagine golf is very similar in that it doesn't really self-select that much for specific attributes.
Right. You could be Tiger Woods, or you could be John Daly.
Right. But like that being said, I think that's only because it's the earliest iterations of the sport taking wave. Like I imagine you're going to see every 6'6" guy who got rejected from tennis just show up at a pickleball court and just
smash.
fucking dominate.
Yeah.
That is true.
Because like length matters so much. I mean, the court isn't that big.
Well, it's great because like it's it gives because like you never stop being an athlete, right? Like if you're an athlete and you're competitive throughout like high school and college, you want to continue to compete in some way, and I think like pickleball allows you to do that into your 70s, really.
Right. Yeah. I think that's very true.
Yeah.
I will say too, like this will be the last thing I say when we can move off this tangent, but the adult baseball league I played in was shockingly competitive. We made the championship 3 or 4 times, I think. And of those times, I was pitted against either a current major league pitcher or a former major league pitcher.
Really?
So there was this young kid. He was, I think he was in AA ball at the time. I can't remember what his name was, but he was on Dodgers organization, and he would come back after because their season ends like relatively early. I want to say like late July, so somewhere just like north of the All-Star break, late July, early August, something like
Are
that.
these wooden bats, aluminum bats?
Wooden. So he would come back and he would throw like the latter half of our summer league. We would end like early September, similar to the MLB schedule. So he'd come back and he'd like throw the last 3 weeks or so just to qualify for the team, and then obviously pitch in the playoffs. We went head to head twice in the championship. Once I beat him throwing a 1-hitter, and once I lost to him throwing a 2-hitter.
Jeez.
And then the other guy that I went off against a bunch, he was 6 years older than me or 7 years older than me, but he was a former pitcher for the Dodgers as well, a lefty. And he was like in his early 40s at the time. Just mowed, man. I mean, this guy was definitely still just like cranking 90, no problem. And there would be times where we'd be shorthanded and I would have to hit off of him. It's
man.
I haven't swung a bat since high school.
Good luck.
And I haven't faced a lefty maybe since I was like 16.
You're just hoping to foul tip it.
And I've definitely never faced anyone throwing 90 plus.
Right.
So he would make me look so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Because all you could do is just like stay in there and just
Right.
hope to God you get a fastball.
Yeah.
But it's like the second he throws a slider at your hip, it's the entire at bat's over for someone like me. Like I'm just not.
You're gonna be like that guy
trained.
that Jared Jones like made him like spin into the ground.
Oh no, there's no swinging.
Fall over.
There's no swinging. Just try to bunt the first pitch down the third base line, and
There you
then
go.
from there on, you're just carved.
I'd
But,
be too afraid to square around the bunt.
nah, bunting is. If you can't bunt, you don't belong on the field.
That's true. I don't
be
belong
quite
on the field though, probably.
That is, that's accurate. We've completely ignored her today. I'm so sorry. I know that you love the sports ball talk. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Ah, yes.
Hey,
Melissa.
Appreciate you every Tuesday and Thursday. We can count on the poo dog.
We don't even have a camera to go
Yeah,
to.
I could have cut to Pip, but
cam?
that would not have been appropriate.
I get it. Well, she's cute.
Look at
She
her.
doesn't like staying in frame. What's she eating?
Sometimes she does.
What's she eating?
Something she probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, shouldn't have that.
Strap.
Puppies, man. All right. We have a fun show for you guys today. A lot more stuff to talk about regarding the WSOP. Mainly, I think that I want to get into a discussion for people who maybe it's their first time or they haven't been out here all that often. There's just like a lot of preparation with it only being 3 weeks out that I think can be very helpful. We have Guapo in the muck today. And prior to all that, we got a little bit of heat on the Twitter streets. The Doug Polk meme, man, really took off.
Yeah.
Everyone taking a jab. Saw Vanessa Cade throwing one at him. I saw Veronica throwing one at him. I mean, they're relatively tongue in cheek, I would say.
It's a beautiful thing.
You just can't miss right now. It's like a guaranteed 100K views if you just meme on Doug. And I gotta tell you, I find it to be quite hilarious. Just because of the poetic justice of it all. It's like, who would have thunk the biggest troll in our space 5 years ago would find himself in a political position now where he has to like, you know, beg for the jury to vote in his favor, and in the process shed a couple tears. I mean, it's painful, man. It's painful. I can see the hurt, but I'm here for the memes. Speaking of memes, we got Depaulo back in the streets. He suddenly is jobless and looking for backing.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no, Depaulo.
I don't know how serious it is or not, but I imagine he's being serious.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but like this is such a lazy approach. I would never back somebody who took this approach.
Read the fucking third sentence.
The third sentence makes it lazier.
I'm just telling you. You said it's such a lazy approach. Well, he just said it's a lazy approach.
I would just like never invest money in somebody like this. Like fucking go make a package, man. Go make a package and sell it. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Who wants to back me? Like what a vague thing. This could be a $200,000 investment or like a $20K investment.
Right.
Where are you even residing right now? Are you coming to Vegas? Is this online events? Are we even going to have online events? Like what are we talking about here?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems like he's just looking for backing.
Look harder.
We'll talk about, you know, if he can find the easiest solution.
I'm going to reply to him right now.
He's just looking for an easy solution. If he can find an easy solution, be happy with it. I bet you if somebody said, hey, I have $25K to back you 50-50, he'd be like, yes.
I'm going to hook him up. I just replied to him. I'm going to hook him up.
And then if somebody said, hey, if I have 40K, he's just like, whatever. We just try looking for a deal.
Okay.
Looking for something.
I think I got him set up. I'm pretty sure I found him the guy that he's looking for. I think that they'll have a deal in place, no problem. End of day, for sure. You know, maybe get him on that virtual reality dick sucking cam a little. You know?
Speaking of packages, Senor Lamana, you'll be having yours up pretty soon.
Yeah, it's in the works. I just need to finalize a couple events I'm doing, and it'll be out there for whoever wants to.
What was your ROI last year? It was pretty nice, right?
Yeah, it was good. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was we did good. We made everybody some money.
It was money.
Don't put him on the spot like that. Now he sounds like he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking. Always know your numbers.
I know.
You go to Shark Tank, you always know.
I didn't know I was going into the Shark Tank today.
You see who's working the ones and twos.
Yeah.
Would you consider putting it on Poker Stake to help our friend of the show, Josh Aria?
You can't put packages on. You have to put an individual.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
That's very Josh. We gotta get this figured out.
Right.
That's super annoying for the user. For something like this, no one wants to list out 65 different events.
But
with 87 different
I definitely
bullets.
could put the main event on there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Little nibble of the tort in the main.
Whoever wants some.
By the way, I know this isn't your doing. Actually, I think I might have given you that gift, so maybe this is on me. But somebody in the comments pointed out, correctly so, by the way, tortoises don't have flippers, and that sign, that's a turtle. That sign is a turtle.
Yeah, it looks like that is a sea turtle of some sort. There. Yeah.
I think what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to get a red marker, X out tortoise,
and just
write turtle.
I've like evolved into the turtle now. Is that what happened?
Somebody has to have good
you do have
handwriting.
feet.
I do have feet.
So I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, because like it's like the square rectangle problem, like turtles have feet, tortoises have feet,
right?
But only turtles have flippers.
Yeah, all turtles are tortoises, but not all tortoises are turtles.
Where did this
come
come
from?
from?
No, you have that backwards.
I had that backwards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think.
Young tort.
Sure.
Okay. While we're on the subject of packages and Poker Stake, I think J-Beck's put up a high stakes package, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like he's selling to the 10K mystery bounty.
Okay.
By the way, how many bullets does it say? I'm interested in terms of the bet. It's a max of 3, I believe, which I will be firing. He's playing the 25K high roller. I wonder if that's on. We should get clarification. I wonder if that's going to be on the bet.
What are the little green hashtags on the bottom? Is that how much he's already
How much
sold?
he's sold? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait, why wouldn't it be on the bet?
Because it's 10K and below, so the mystery bounty and the 6 max would be on there for sure. But we left it open to where if both parties agree, 25Ks would be on there.
Gotcha.
Good for him. He's already sold out, basically.
Selling its face
No, it's
to
the
keep
opposite.
Sean
He sold
Deeb away.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think the green would be how much he has left.
I'll tell you right now.
Oh, I thought the green was like.
Yeah, he's only selling 10% of.
Each?
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine he's doing this as a little sweat.
For people, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Josh and Daniel are friends, so this is like helping out Poker Steak. Wait, so he is sold out of those, or
No,
right?
he
The green
sold-
means availability.
He sold 0.2, he sold 1.9, and 3.7.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you guys want a little tasty sweat of JBEX, by the way, go buy the 25K for sure. We want to get that one on the bet. Let's make sure that he's in action. Don't want to cheapen things. God, am I gonna play a 25K this year? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you are.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It feels like
I played so dumb. I played the 25K 6 max last year thinking it was going to be like all the other 6 maxes and super soft, and it was not.
No.
So then I chose not to play the 25K 8 max because I was just over it by that point.
And it was.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if anybody has this at their fingertips, but it was like 1.7 million up top. It was like 400 or 500 runners. Something stupid.
Crazy. And that's what's going to happen this year. You're going to see the number of people in it, and you're going to be like, I have to play this thing. And then you're going to be in it.
Well, the
and
good
you're
news
either going to
is-
like final table it or be out in like the first 10 minutes. So.
Yes, and you want to know why?
Why?
Because I'll be max late regging.
Correct.
So
Love
that's
it.
As you
okay.
should, Burke.
Max late Reg.
Yeah.
Max late Reg.
Yeah,
love it.
I think I think
Got to
that-
recoup all that EV for not looking at push fold charts.
Bro, I'm really bad at push fold.
Not that hard.
I'm really bad. The problem is that like certain hands just look good,
Mhm.
Like, what am I not jamming Queen Jack suited? Not for 15, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, definitely not.
Well, maybe you are. Depends on the position.
Yeah.
That's where you are.
Maybe
Yeah.
jam from the button. I don't know. Seems reasonable, but
Mm.
I got a lot of work to do on push fold, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of that easy.
Why
So
is
I just
that?
won't. So if you see me in your field and I'm short stacked, just know I'm punting. It's as simple as that. I'm either too tight or I'm too loose, but either way, you are the benefactor.
Well, if they don't know if you're too tight or too loose.
Well, they know I don't know what I'm doing because
Nah,
I'm
they-
right here professing it. So just give me ace 10 so I don't have any tough decisions. That's kind of the way that I see it. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be exciting. I think that I'm kind of interested to see how much. Like I'm excited to look at the numbers once this bet is all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see like how much of an impact the outlier events have. And what I mean by that is like the highest buy-in smallest fields compared to like the lowest buy-ins largest fields. I want to see like how much those are going to make or break the bet, because my immediate guess would be like that's the biggest qualifier, right? Like most of your variance is going to fall in one of those two extremes. But I mean, I guess it's such a small sample, maybe it's not even worth examining, right? Because like maybe just one score wins the whole thing. I don't know. Let's I kind of like, if you told me right now that the outcome of this bet is that somebody wins a bracelet and the other person stone bricks the summer,
You'd be happy.
I think I would take that.
Yeah, like just right now.
Like I think I would, because I would know that like, okay, we're really gambling for something.
Right.
Yeah, like
Right.
the problem is in your head, you really just think it's gonna be a break even thing, very close to. And
Yeah.
that's gonna suck. Is there a bonus for
100K bonus if you win a bracelet in a mutually played event.
Okay,
Mm.
interesting.
So yeah, so any bracelet event that's mutually played has everything's capped at 250K, but those bracelet events that are mutually played have a 100K bonus
It's
additional to them.
350K.
Technically, yeah,
Okay.
but only if you win.
Yeah, I got you.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, like I'm kind of sick, right? Like, because how gross is it if you're on the wrong side of that,
Yeah.
right? Like I have a piece of Landon just breaking out the summer plus fucking like 10x action on the side. It's like I could just get washed
True.
for fucking infinite.
You guys might get some on-field reporting. My whatchamacallit came back. I got approved.
Okay.
Oh.
Media credentials.
Media
All right.
credentials?
We got
Okay.
Guapo out in the streets vlogging.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Interesting.
I like this. This is all headed in the right direction.
Sounds like results made Guapo.
Are you gonna? Are
Sounds
you
like
gonna,
more work for Guapo.
Yeah, that too.
That's okay. I like work.
Are you gonna be playing any events?
I'll probably fire some of the little ones. You know, some of the smaller stuff.
Get in
And,
there.
Oh, you'll be in the
I think
mix.
the one I really want to play is the Mystery Bounty. I had fun in that one.
It's the first event, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
It's one of
I
the
haven't
first.
got it yet.
It's like
I'm excited for him to get out there in a weekend field and just have people just be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so great on the Only Friends pod!" Like just all the fanfare, all the Guapo selfies.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fucking hooked, man. Wait till the first groupie comes up to him.
he'll never stop fucking playing.
Over.
He's just gonna play tournaments for us.
Yeah,
his
he's
life
gonna start
that.
traveling the circuit. Like,
Yeah.
where are the groupies at?
This is what I signed up for.
Guys, let's take the pod to Choctaw. What do you say?
Oh man.
Well, it happened to Lamanna last year.
And it was everyone was awesome. Everyone was really cool. Yeah.
That's fun.
Coming up, and tell them to say they like the pod and hey, keep watching.
Same thing for the cash games. I've had only nothing but really good experience.
Don't tell me any fucking bad beat stories in the fucking hallways, all right?
No one tells me bad beat stories.
No, me either. No. Yeah.
I don't know why. It must be
I've
your
got
face.
a couple in the hallway. I'm like, I'm walking.
Oh, speaking of hallways, nobody yell out, "Hey, tortilla boy!" either. that one was tough.
That's gonna be me. Every time
Don't worry, it's just
Hey,
Conrad.
tortilla boy.
That's too good.
fucking
Aria
right.
finally put their schedule out today. It looks like it's going to be a lot of those mid-range buy-ins, a lot of 600, 800 no limits. They have basically an event every single day, May 29th through the July 13th.
Like the first week is the main, right? I feel like first weekend.
The main?
Yeah, like their main 3,500.
Oh, well, June 6th. No. June 6th is their 1K mystery bounty, which is a 500K guarantee.
Okay.
And then June 7th is their championship, which is a 3 million guarantee, 3,500.
Okay, sweet.
Oh, so second weekend.
Second weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. And then they also have a couple other bigger guarantees, I guess. They have another 1K mystery bounty, 250K guarantee. By the way, these guarantees are meaningless. They're all going to smash. 1,600 mystery bounty. I like that all their big guarantees they're slapping on these are mystery bounties.
I'm curious to know.
It's all the rage.
Kinda
what
smart.
The 3,500 interlaps with, because like there might be some chance at
With the
overlay.
WSOP?
Yeah.
I think it's the weekend prior is
The 5K.
Yeah,
it's
the
the 5K
weekend
is the 27th or the 28th.
Yeah.
That first weekend though, I think is either the mystery bounty at the WSOP or whatever their small buy-in opener is. I don't recall.
Yeah. It looks like the 25K is on the night.
The 500 freeze out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that weekend?
That's
That first weekend?
That's the first weekend. Yeah.
Okay, so then the second weekend maybe is the mystery bounty,
Okay.
which it would interact with. Bold choice if so. But to be fair, like they start their day one on Thursday. I don't think the mystery bounty is till either Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Were we talking about the 1K mystery bounty?
Yeah.
No, I think that's the first weekend. I think it interlaps with the 5K. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look right now. But
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you pull up that WSOP schedule while you're at it? Looking further ahead then into their late June, early July, they have, it looks like everything is basically between 200K and 500K guarantees. So they have a second no limit Hold'em championship event. It's a 1,600, 500K guarantee. That's going to happen July 1st. This is going to basically overlap with the World Series main event.
Okay, so it doesn't overlap, but it is the 1K Mystery Millions is on the 30th.
Okay, so it is that
when-
first weekend.
That's when it starts, and it's a
Yeah.
3-day event. So
Okay, and then what's that following weekend?
that following
So
weekend,
the 7th
seven.
ish. Yeah.
Okay, so the 6th, it looks like there's a 25K on the 6th. The 7th is going to be a 300 Gladiators.
Oh, okay.
The
So there you go.
okay,
It-
the
it's-
1,500 shootout.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
small.
And then it starts playing the pilot in Omaha.
Right.
So,
Right.
this
So the
makes a lot of
300
sense.
Gladiator and the 3,500. That's really smart.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's perfect. There's nothing in the middle.
And we haven't seen the Win and Venetian release their schedule yet, right?
I believe we have. Venetian definitely 100% just dropped it.
Really?
Yeah, I just saw something right now. from Venetian.
Man, I am definitely tapped out.
No, I mean, I feel like
like literally moments ago?
I think so.
Interesting. I find it curious. Like, do you think the strategy is to go last with your schedule or to just like immediately release after the World Series? Obviously, everybody waits for the series schedule to come out.
So 15 minutes ago, it looked like. Oh, wait, sorry. It's been came out.
I think
came out
you
May
want,
7th. 2 days ago.
I think you want to put it out immediately after because
You want to be the first.
You want to be the first after the World Series because people are putting their packages together. They're doing different things, right? So like it's like, if you don't have it out, then maybe they fill their package in with something else.
But don't you think you could squat like so? Say Aria puts their 3,500 that weekend, right, and Win withholds their schedule to go last.
Don't
you think the Win just like smashes them if they put out the exact same event?
It is such.
That's true too. I mean, there's pros and cons.
It's so cutthroat.
Sure.
I don't think there's any pros for going first after the WSOP. I mean, I think it's just smart to go last.
I think the Win. Well, I think like there's a pecking order, right? Like I think the Win can go at any point.
Yeah,
because they're going to get the second most traffic.
But if the Win strategically does it and just looks at everybody else's schedule, they know who they're going to beat. Like in like.
Well, I think they're incentivized to go first. Here's why: because so like that weekend is a small buy-in weekend, right? It's a $300 Gladiator or whatever.
Yeah.
So you want to put one of your higher buy-ins at that time.
Okay.
No matter what property you are.
Okay.
So if Win goes first, it discourages Aria from doing their 3,500 championship that weekend.
But so here's the thing: I don't think it matters to Win when Aria does their 3,500 championship.
Of course it does.
I mean,
it has to. Like, even if it's one person that plays Aria over the Win, it's still one person that wouldn't have have had that option.
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, you don't want Aria to.
You don't want to compete like two identical events.
I feel like it happens all the time.
Maybe.
Well, it does because there's only so many days.
But usually it's staggered. Like most tournament directors are very good about setting their schedule up such that if there's a competing event that's comparable in buy-ins, you can play both.
Yeah.
Like they'll set it up with enough day ones where it's like, okay, well, if you bag both, the day twos are staggered
right.
and you won't have any issues.
That is
true. I personally think that if I'm the Win, I would go immediately after WSOP. But again, like I'm not paid to make these decisions.
Right.
That's actually interesting. I wonder what's better for them. Because I see your point.
And I could see like the Venetian being able to go anytime that they want also because they're focused on small buy-in stuff. So like they should be running like that weekend. I haven't looked at their schedule, but like that weekend they should be running something complementary to the Gladiator.
So when people bust the Gladiator, they go over, over and get to play a similar
like people that can't go fire 3,500. It's like, okay, well we have a 600.
Exactly.
No, they call it the exact medal. That's when the 1,100.
Yeah, I think that's a huge error.
Really?
Yeah, because now you have people divided. 1,100 might be a little bit too steep for people playing the Gladiator, and it might be a little too cheap for the outliers of the 3,500. But more importantly, there's overlap from both of those fields that have other options. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Like if I play both 1,100s and 3,500s, I'm just always going to pick the 3,500.
Right.
Yes, I agree. But what if the Win also has something going on then? That would put a little...
Right, I guess we didn't talk about that. Do they have their schedule out?
I'm going to look right now. Unfortunately.
I imagine the Spacey spreadsheet is also out.
Yeah, I got it.
For those of you guys who don't know, why is his name blanking?
Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. No, that's the actor.
That's the actor.
Damn it. You fucking trap me.
What, Mathers?
No.
No, it's FC Spacey or something like that.
Yeah.
Spacey, hold on. It is Kenny Howlard.
Kenny Howlard, yeah.
Spacey FCB.
Yes. That account. Every year, Kenny Howlard does a spreadsheet of all of the events around town, and they're organized by property, they're organized by buy-in, they're organized.
They're sortable, which is
also
nice.
Kim Unger does it as well.
I don't know who that is.
Wizard of Viz, I believe. Let's see. Yes.
Yeah, so it looks like the Winds schedule is also out. So it looks like Aria was last to drop.
Okay.
Just releasing it today. So now all of the official schedules are out. Everything from the Orleans to the Nugget to MGM Grand, Caesars. Man, I can't imagine Caesars actually gets much going on
I
here.
mean, what do you mean? They only do the mixed events in the beginning, I feel like.
I have no idea.
I feel like they do a mix championship, whatever. Their mixed series, like right before the series starts. Like,
yeah, you're correct.
So I think maybe the play,
Mexican Poker Series, 13th to the 21st.
the play would be to, if you're a property and you think that that like business is going to get stolen away from you by having a similar event, then you come out last, right? You wait so you don't try not to compete with the other players. Whereas
yes,
for the better player, for like the win, where you know that nobody's gonna be stealing players away from the win, then they want to come out second.
I agree with you.
After WSOP.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's definitely like the sharp way.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. So like that's.
oh, okay. Somebody said Aria has been out for weeks. They just reposted it an hour
Oh, there
ago.
you go.
I mean, that makes sense. We are getting quite close. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Well, you say that, but do you know what the online bracelet schedule is? Cool, me either.
Yeah, nobody does.
Well, it seems like they're having some problems. It looked like they were going to integrate Michigan and here with New Jersey.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's been a hiccup because I feel like since I read that article, it's supposed to be the 8th, I think.
Yeah,
That
there
they-
was scheduled maintenance on the 8th, and the notion behind that was that when Stars integrated the New Jersey and Michigan pool, they had to do a 2-day maintenance. So it was kind of like, it was telling that that's what the maintenance was for. So everyone was speculating that the 8th was going to be when these three pools finally collaborated. We were finally going to get a much needed software update that WSOP has been working on for a decade.
Yeah.
But now that maintenance has gotten pushed to a TBD date somewhere in the future.
Okay.
And
Well, at this point, is it even maintenance? Aren't we just adopting what Michigan uses?
yeah, but that takes, they have to be offline for a day
Gotcha.
or whatever. I mean, maintenance is just a word. You could call it whatever you want. But the tricky thing is, I think, like the timing of this all, where I'm not so sure. Again, like I guess I've seen this platform operate for a long time. I'm friends with people that are in the workings. I know how much like red tape they have to cut through, and I know how many hurdles they have to jump over to get shit done. I don't know that this timetable is going to get completed. And
Well-
if that's the case, I wonder if they'll just scrap the online bracelet series.
Well, so it seemed that they were pretty sure that they were going to get it done because it looked like they leaked the schedule. Or there was a schedule leaked or something like that.
Yeah, there was
And-
a certain, but that time is come and gone,
Yes, I understand that.
right?
I understand, but like, why would they ever scrap it? I don't think they would scrap it. They would just.
Well,
run.
it's sorry, not scrap it, but push it,
Postpone it. a
or
little bit,
postpone it in some sort of capacity, because at some point they're gonna have to make a call of, are we gonna be able to merge, or are we gonna have to run segregated bracelet events like we have in the past?
Yeah, so maybe they just want to wait till the merge, just because that's going to be their first time merging, and they just go straight into bracelet events. So, like, say even if it's even August, like they would just run bracelet events in August in
That's
three
possible.
states.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just don't care.
I wonder if Toronto will be a part of this pool
Oh, that's
sooner than
interesting.
later.
How does that work? So, like,
But I
that's-
actually think Toronto's operating on GG's platform.
Right.
they are.
Yeah.
Right. I was gonna say, how does that work? Like, money wise, distribution. Like, how would they even be able to fit in? Like, isn't there like probably like some U.S. laws to keep it in U.S. or some type of shit?
I don't know that it's all that complex. I think what ends up happening is that each subsection of the pool pays their own local taxes, based off of, or let me rephrase, the players, as they cash out, will pay local tax to the pool that they belong to.
So it doesn't matter.
Right, and
Gotcha.
that's a big. My understanding is that's a big hurdle as to why California doesn't want to get involved, because they don't want money flowing out of the state.
Gotcha. So we can get like Kazakhstan in on it?
No. Toronto is very unique. Toronto had a law passed that segregated them from the rest of Canada and the rest of world.
Okay.
So Toronto's not competing. Toronto's insulated. They're only competing against Toronto.
Gotcha. Okay. Joe
Just
Berg's
the
right.
city itself.
Joe Berg is right. He says merger still needs to be approved by Michigan lawmakers. That hasn't happened yet.
Sure, it has.
No, I'm pretty sure. Like,
How is Stars merged then? What are you talking? This happened a year and a half ago.
I know, but the WSOP merger, I'm pretty sure it said in the article, still has to be approved. Or I saw it somewhere.
I feel like that's
I feel like it's already been approved as
misreported.
well.
Yeah,
Because
maybe, but I definitely did see that somewhere.
How are they only
100%.
days away from integrating everything if nothing's been? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
know.
it was like a year and a half ago that it was passed that Michigan would be a part of the pools. It was just a matter of integrating them.
Yeah, I guess maybe that one last step of red tape that wasn't done yet or something like that, and that's what they're referring to. I'm not sure, but I do know that's what they said in one of these articles.
I'm looking at the article. It says, it is worth noting that WSOP still lacks approval from Michigan regulatory and possibly from New Jersey and Nevada regulators. I think that that's just not true.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, like, what the source is for this Poker Fuse article. Maybe they have a very bulletproof source here, but I just feel like that's contradictory to everything that we had read a year ago when we all got excited that this was going to move.
Yeah.
My understanding was it was a software issue. The big reason why they couldn't integrate and Stars could was because Stars already had the same software in both pools,
yeah.
and it was just a matter of merging them together.
If I had to set a line for them being up and running for the series, I'd say it's less than 10%.
I would.
That seems low. I mean, it's not like they just started working on this yesterday.
Yeah, but they need still like only 21 days to the series.
Yeah, time's
Less than
ticking
that.
for sure.
Like,
And look, they're not putting out any statements, but that's also like very in line with WSOP. Like I think that it's probably like, if I had to put a line on it, I would say it's like 75% that this gets done.
Quite honestly, I don't even care. I'm just excited that it's getting done. This is kind of cool, man.
It
like,
is really weird.
It's finally happening.
I
like
know,
it's
right?
been fucking years.
It's kind of funny how the littlest thing will make me overlook all the other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I hate online poker. I do not enjoy sitting at my computer playing cards, but
the $30 rebuy just got a little bit fucking bigger, and I'm in there.
it's just like
Exactly.
I
just
just got
like
like 3 more tables of 100.
the shiny new thing will at least make me want to play in the near term.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
when I got to play on the Pennsylvania software, I was like, wow, this is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they did such a good job with this. I can throw fruit at people. Like, what am I doing?
We had fun playing in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
software.
I did really
That was
well.
cool. Yeah, me too. Or decent. But yeah, it's kind of exciting. Just like the $30 rebuy is just going to be what, 30 to 40% more for first.
Well, it's not that. I think what's more exciting is like they can run mystery bounties now. They can
Yeah,
run.
all that good
They can do
stuff
all
too.
the things that the software was not allowing them to do.
Correct. Yeah.
All that good stuff too, but it also brings back COVID numbers for us.
No, come on.
For online, for WSOP, we're only in one section. So now if we're adding a player pool, that's almost like COVID numbers. So like these.
No, what are you talking about? New Jersey and Nevada were always merged.
No, I'm talking about we're adding one pool. Michigan, one state.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Well, how much was the COVID numbers inflated as compared to like the average of non-COVID numbers?
Without looking, I would guess 75% increase.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
just taking a stab, but like it
Right.
was
I was
very
gonna say doubled.
significant. Yeah,
Right, so-
doubled wouldn't shock
Okay, so
me.
then it wouldn't be quite COVID numbers because if you're just bringing in Michigan, that's going to
What?
bump it up by what? Like
And some of them
30%?
are here.
I think like
Some of them
40%.
travel here.
Right, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I mean, I definitely think we'll see.
You're just exaggerating. It's okay. Your point is valid.
I'm not-
The numbers will certainly increase.
be right there.
It's just not going to be COVID.
Temper your
numbers.
expectations.
I'm
but
just gonna
it's
look at
going to
the-
be better. It's going to
Yeah.
be great. Yeah.
I just like the increase. Like, it makes me want to. I can play smaller buy-ins online. It's
Yeah.
like it's gonna be more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I hate playing 100-man $20 buy-ins. So
Yeah,
it's
I think your memory is just not serving you of how big the COVID numbers were.
well,
Like the 215 circuit event would be like 50K to first.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like 27.
But it might have like a cascading effect where like now all of a sudden like the numbers are bigger, so it brings more people in, and then
Possibly.
If now is
again during the
Conrad
summer,
said he wants to play more now on there because of this.
he's not gonna fucking play.
You even said,
bro, he's
so-
not gonna. None of us are gonna play more. There's a goddamn live series taking place 3 miles down the road.
I'm talking about overall, like
overall
maybe
throughout
it's
the
not
year?
just during the series.
Yeah, when
I
they
mean,
run
like,
their second bracelet event in fucking September, their fall bracelet, then sure, people are gonna show up, and
No,
some of
just
the
like-
prizes might be 100K.
I just
I'm
mean-
just saying,
I mean
even
in
for like the daily
general.
schedule, I will play more. Like 100% play more if when Michigan gets added. And also because the software is not going to suck fucking so goddamn
yeah.
much.
And there might be a lot of people like Conrad out there where now, you know, you're going to get people, just random people playing more online because the prize pools are bigger. So it just makes them even that much more bigger.
Yeah, I guess I
I
think
don't know. I'm
it's-
saying it's going to have like a huge effect. But It's going to have
Exactly.
some sort of.
I don't think Michigan is, and maybe I'm wrong with this, but I don't think Michigan is a bigger pool than New Jersey for sure. And I would imagine it's only slightly bigger than Nevada. But maybe I'm wrong on the
I have no
latter
idea.
part.
Well, I'm just adding like what first place is in Michigan for 2 events to our.
Sure.
That's what I'm just thinking in my
It's
head.
usually
right
like
now.
15K-ish, I'm guessing.
Yeah, something along
Yeah.
those lines. So like when
Yeah.
you say the 215, it's probably
Right.
going to get
the
to
better,
50K to first.
the better the software,
to.
the more people will want to play on the site. So that'll help us.
Yeah, look, none of this is a bad thing. Like once, I mean, if PA and West Virginia get added to the pool, that would be helpful. I don't have high hopes on that. Like Pennsylvania is very much
They want
sticking to their
own-
guns.
Yeah.
Of not wanting the money to leave. It's very similar to like the California stance. I feel like I heard something along the lines of it being wrapped into their slot machine bill somehow. Pennsylvania. Like somehow the online poker revenue and slots were like getting put together into a fund or something. I don't know. I just very vaguely remember reading something about that. I could be way off.
So what do you think the expectations on it ever coming?
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
35% maybe.
Wow, I would say lower maybe. Well, I mean, like ever, I guess in the next few years.
Yeah, sure.
for
Like
sure.
I meant like in a meaningful amount of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
3 to 5 years, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 to 5 years. I was talking 3 to 5 months. Fuck me, 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5
Shit.
months is
Zero-
zero.
0%.
Tired of that.
0%.
Man.
And that's kind of crazy when you put a timeline like that on it, where you say like, oh, maybe in 3 to 5 years, Pennsylvania will finally integrate into the other pools. It's like, I think everybody has this expectation that like 3 to 5 years we might see rest of world, or at bare minimum, interstate, where we have the entire United States playing in a pool.
I think you need.
I think that's like almost impossible.
Yeah, it's like once the real big players come in, then you might see it just like everybody snowball. Like so, if you somehow you get California, then it's
Yeah.
like the rest of the country comes along.
I don't know, man.
You get
I
New
heard-
York or something like that.
I heard
Right.
Doug
Yeah.
Polk is running for office, so
Okay,
You're
well,
gonna
Might be
have
possible.
to put a way more compelling argument out than we're good people. I swear. Just go look at my YouTube.
wouldn't it have been funny if
I
someone was
highlight
like,
all the industry
if
greats.
he said how great people are, and then someone just came with a laptop and they're like, what about this, Doug?
Oh man. Sticking with the theme of getting you guys ready for coming out. So there are a lot of options to play, obviously, a lot of properties, but outside of the WSOP, you know, most of these other properties are just going to be like, bring cash, buy in, you're going to be fine. There isn't a lot of prep work that takes place. But for the WSOP specifically, as well as WSOP Online, there are a lot of different options available this year, more so than ever before. And honestly, like I've been following with Kev Math, and it's ever so slightly confusing to me. And maybe I'm being a little bit obtuse because I know that all I need to do is take cash to the cage.
Yeah.
And I just have chips from other properties that I can go and swap out for Paris or whatever, make it super easy. But for those of you that are coming from out of state that want to wire or do other things like have a cashier's check or whatever the case may be, it's very important that you find these instructions and follow them. So Kevin Math put out a couple of tweets. He said, those asking about wiring funds to the WSOP, players wishing to wire funds to the cage for tournaments and cash games. The minimums are $50K for non-US players and $100K for US players.
damn.
So that in and of itself is going to take a wire off the table for the vast majority of you.
Yeah.
For those wanting to send lesser amounts for cash games, email wsopreg@caesars.com. Players are approved on a case-by-case basis and must have a history of play at the WSOP. Then obviously, like he includes the information for those who do want to wire the larger amounts. This year, new to this whole system is this app called Payfinity. And my understanding of Payfinity is it's a digital wallet that is partnered with Bravo. Okay. So effectively, this app is effectively how you'll load your Bravo account, I think. Or
you said instead of or additionally going to the cage and doing it?
So I know that you can still load your TBIC at the cage, right. Or at least I'm pretty sure you can. I guess I shouldn't say anything with certainty because, again, this stuff is all a little bit confusing.
And if anybody's going to, play a significant amount of tournaments, or a handful, really, you should do that because it's just it makes life so much easier
right.
to just be able to...
You can register from the app. You can skip the lines.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you just go and you print your ticket out, and, I mean, you don't have to stand in line. It just makes the whole process so much smoother.
Right. And from what I understand, if you want to wire a lesser amount, you can just utilize Payfinity as the go-between. Right. So since the WSOP bank, so to speak, is directly only taking 100K from U.S. residents, if, say, you wanted to wire 20K, you can just sign up for Payfinity. You can load the Payfinity account with 20K, then transfer that to your Bravo TBIC, and now have that available for credits.
Yeah.
That's my best understanding of this all. He tried to clarify a little bit with Gags, where he basically said WSOP tournament account can be funded with cash, chips, or cashier's check in person only. Bravo TBIC accounts can be funded with a wire or ACH going through the Payfinity digital wallet. So this is the part that I guess I'm confused by. Wasn't Bravo TBIC always the same as WSOP tournament? Like, there was no separation in the past, right? When I went to the cage and I said I want to put, 50K on my account,
yeah, it
was TBIC in the past.
Right. It was.
Right? Mm-hmm. So now it sounds as though there are two separate services. A WSOP tournament account, which can be funded in person, and then Bravo TBIC, which can only be funded with a wire ACH going through the Payfinity digital wallet. In which case, I'm not sure then, and it doesn't seem as though there's any clarity because Gags asked. Basically, Gags said, how do we register for events then? And Kev Math said through Payfinity. On the Bravo app. But what if you load the WSOP tournament account instead? Right. Now, how do you have a credit still on your Bravo app?
Right.
Yeah.
These are the things that are quite confusing to me.
This sounds like ESPN and ESPN Plus when you try to order a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so he actually included a screenshot. If you scroll up a little bit, Guap, on his timeline, you'll see it. He says when you go online to the Bravo Poker Live website, these are the options that you'll see. And it has Bravo TBIC, credit debit card, or WSOP tournament account. Okay, so they've just added a third sign up option. I'll just send you the link. Well, sorry. I didn't mean to fuck you like that. So it appears as though they are trying to go fully digital. And yeah, in years past, I think it was just TBIC or debit credit.
When crypto?
You might be able to through the Payfinity app.
That would be, if you could just use
I haven't downloaded or messed around with it, but the way it was described to me was going to be very similar to LuxemPay. And I know LuxemPay handles some cryptocurrencies. Mm-hmm. But yeah, being able to utilize USDT for something like this would be
massive,
amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Just very incredible. So to answer some questions in the chat, can you fund Bravo with cash in Vegas? No, but you can fund your WSOP tournament account and understand that they operate very much the same. So if you're looking at this screenshot that Guapo just pulled up, when you go to register for a tournament, you'll see the TBIC option. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the WSOP tournament account option.
Ah, yes.
So again, it's just going to be that $3 registration fee that you pay for everyone, but you get to skip all the lines. It's well worth those transactions. Yeah. I hope that makes it a little bit more clear. I know I spent a little bit of time racking my brain with this, and if I'm spending time on it, I'm annoyed and confused, then it's probably an annoying and confusing process. So just be prepared, like whenever it comes to being out here, funding your accounts, get all this shit out of the way in the beginning because it's not worth the daily stress.
Right.
They'll have dedicated cages for all of this stuff for sure. So if you're bringing cash in person, cashier check, or anything of that sort, and you're doing it in person, be sure to go to the cage and know that you're loading up your WSOP tournament account. If you want to use any digital money, so that's a bank wire, ACH, crypto, whatever the case may be, you'll be able to do that through the Payfinity account, and you'll utilize that app in transferring the money over to WSOP. Then you'll choose the Bravo TBIC option whenever you go to register for events.
We're not sure about the crypto part.
I'm trusting Andre. He's quoting the site. You can add funds to your Payfinity account using your bank account, cryptocurrency, or through a wire transfer.
Wow. That's pretty big.
So yeah, that's we're booming, baby. We might see record numbers again.
Yeah.
Get those crypto babies out here. Let's go.
It is interesting because it looked like their bases was in Las Vegas and Houston. So if it's only
The Payfinity?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it sounds like they're by adding the Payfinity, they're just adding another layer, another option. Because before
they're adding digital to digital.
Right, exactly. Because before you had to have cash and go to the cage to load up your Bravo. Or your
You could wire, but it was a process.
Right, exactly. This is making it much more seamless.
Yeah.
And other options like ACH.
Yeah. I think that this is a pretty big step in the right direction. It should be getting close to the point where you're a fool if you're showing up cash in hand that day to go register for an event. There are just way too many digital options that are
Last
better.
year was the first year I actually utilized the that option, and I'll never not do it again.
The only thing I complain a little bit about, hopefully the guys at Bravo can get this taken care of and actually get it to handle it within the app, is the actual sign up process is you going to the app, you finding the tournament in the app, you clicking on the tournament in the app, and then it taking you to the Bravo website.
So
you have to sign in again, then find the tournament again. You know what I mean? It's this big annoying process.
What I would do, I wouldn't even use the app. I just had Bravo bookmarked in my browser, and then I would just go straight to the browser, and you can just sign in. Obviously, you have
still very
your login saved, and just it was easy. It was just click, and you're done.
It's easy, but it's insane to not have this handled within the app. Like it's a couple buttons within an app.
But it wasn't such an inconvenience that.
I would never suggest not doing it.
Right.
I'm just
there's a better way to make it even more.
Yeah, I'm just griping a little bit that we're dealing with 2016 technology instead of current day. But it's no big deal. Okay, yeah, let's I think that about wraps all the things I want to talk about for prepping for the summer. If you guys have any questions that you don't feel like directing at Kev Math or you think would spark a good conversation, let us know. I'll keep paying attention to his timeline. I brought this up today because I had just seen, he must have had 100 posts in the last day and a half about funding accounts and stuff like that. The other one would be funding your WSOP online account. There are many ways you can do that. Obviously, you can do it within the client, through ACH, through PayPal, through a myriad of payment processors, or you can do it in person. So you can take money to the cage, similar to how you load your WSOP tournament account. Say that you want that put onto your online account, and they'll handle that.
It works in the inverse too. You can cash out through the cage and get cash.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a relatively quick process.
Yeah, cashing out all this stuff, very different story. I'm not sharp on that yet. I'll do a little research and let you guys know.
There's some sort of thing with the TBIC where if you cash out and you have to just cash it out, you can't reload.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So be aware of that. Maybe but you can always reload.
You can always put more money on, but you can't take money off more than once.
To start, maybe just put a certain amount that you're definitely going to play. Put that on first. Don't just load everything onto it because you might need that money for something else or a different tournament. So just put a little bit on. And then once you're going to be playing more tournaments for sure, then you can put more money on.
It's so dumb, but this stuff gets me hyped. I don't know why. I'm ready to play.
Yeah, look at Berkey. I know. It's just the greatest time of the year, man. It's tournaments everywhere. Poker players from all walks of life coming to the same city or we all have the same goal in mind, make a bunch of money, get some wristwear, it's that time of year again. It's
Poor
happening.
Las Vegas. What's going to happen to our community with all these poker players in town?
I know.
Crimes
So
and
The
go
good
up.
people, man.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
All right.
That's when the horrors come in.
Shaking their
Shit, we
behinds.
must be playing poker year round.
All right, let's get to the end of the muck.
El Guapo
That's
in the
right.
muck.
All right, ladies and gents.
When you see that WSOP.com skin up there, you just know it's Guapo in the muck.
Or the name El Guapo. Just
You know
right
what?
there.
El Guapo. That too, yeah.
All right, guys, we're playing a little 6-max. We have a fun player opening from the cutoff. We'll notice that he does not have a full stack. And we decide to defend from the big blind with Jack 3 suited. This might be a pip.
Jack 3
wide.
of clubs.
Jack 3 of clubs, excuse me. We get a flop of 5, 7, 8, 5 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 7 of spades. And this is where it gets kind of interesting because I feel like we have a few options. I think leading can be a thing here. I think check raising and check calling are also very viable. We decide to check. Our opponent bets half. And instead of check raising, we decide to just call. Turn brings the 4 of hearts. So now any 6 makes a straight. And I decide to lead. This will always just be my kryptonite as far as sizes. I just kind of go with my lazy size and just go half.
You understand that, like, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Sure.
In my study, I don't know that I've found any spots where I donk for half. It's like just a total non-size.
Or bet turn for half for the most part.
No, you can bet turn. There's plenty of spots like B40 turn and shit like that. But like,
Not half.
same thing. But like donk sizes are like quarter or like massive.
Okay, see, this is good because now this is going to be hard for me to forget. So now I just know.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be a small bet or a very big bet.
Yeah, like half is just really not a thing, and even big is like not often a thing, just because it's difficult for a card to shift equity so fucking much that you're in a node where you forewent a lead on the flop, a check raise on the flop, and then a turn card comes that's so good for you that like your range just has to bet. And if that's true, it's difficult to polarize, right? If it's more of a turn card where it's like, well, that hits my polar range, but misses everything else, again, it's very difficult to lead for a large size because you have to be so particular about the hands that you're choosing. So like it does come up. There are situations where you'll donk for like 2E or situations on the river where like you might donk jam, but it really is only very unique scenarios where the board texture changes so abruptly in your favor that you expect the check back frequency to be like approaching 100%. Go on.
So yeah, and as you mentioned, I think the important thing to recognize is that at least I'm recognizing now, whereas I didn't in the past, where certain boards are better for me than they are for my opponent.
Yeah.
So I decided to go for half here. Our opponent calls, and we get the deuce of spades on the river. I have jack high here, and I decide that I'm just going to go for it, and go for it meaning I don't know if I should just bet pot, if I should bet 125, or if I should just put it all in. And my thought process was...
I'm glad you weren't like, oh, should I just do 30%? Because,
Yeah, no,
you know,
those, I
like,
think those
the Guapo, hedgy
those
bluff.
days of being chastised are over. And,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I just decided to go for it. I put it all in, and our opponent folds.
All right. So in particular, which of these decisions has you
So
most
going
in-
for
I
it, by
think
the way, it
what-
was
I
like
think what has me-
2.5. It's like 250% on the
I think
river.
what has me in the muck is that I get to these spots where I have
Almost
several
300.
choices to make, and I don't have a clear line of thought to say, okay, I should probably be down to these two, or it's just this one, and it's a very easy decision. I'm just kind of guessing. Like, I recognize boards that are good and bad for me, but when it comes to bet sizes and frequencies, I think this is what's kind of got me in the muck.
Maybe
Like,
so-
I'm just kind of guessing here.
Maybe like flop and turn is just
Like,
so
for instance, when I
close.
get here on the river, I know, okay, I have jack high. Like, I need to either give up, or if I'm going to win this pot, like, I think it needs to be a big bet. But how big?
Yeah, I think that the only thing mucky here is your mechanics. Like you're thought process is good, your principles are good, and like I'm pretty confident that at every node your hand mixes. I would bet your hand is a mix between check and bet on the flop, a mix between check raise and call on the flop, a mix between donk and check on the turn, a mix between bluff and give up on the river. So like you're not really guessing, you're not really confused. You just have a hand that's like worth 0 EV start to finish. Or not 0 EV, it's worth 0 on the end. But like basically you're in between decisions that have no EV difference. The part that can become confusing to you, or what may make you feel like you're in the muck, is that you haven't put together the overall global strategies that choose these mixes. So in other words, like you recognize that you can have leads on this flop, but you don't know what candidates to pull from.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And without,
I feel like it's like on a broad scope. Like if I zoom out, like I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to the micro level, like sizing and frequency and what cards should I have and what cards should I not have, and things of that nature.
right, and like that's the part where like this is a very important spot to study, because the truth of the matter is you could probably like, I would imagine almost every hand in your range has leads, but their frequencies are going to vary. Right? So like there are going to be some core hands that you build your leading range around, and then you're going to have everything else leading at some sort of mixed frequency. Conversely, like the same will take place once you check. Every hand in your range will check for sure, like without question. I don't need to look at a solve to know that. Your entire range will play check at some frequency, so you can simplify to a checking strategy. But then if you simplify to a checking strategy, you have to build out a very robust check raising strategy, because we're all very confident that you're going to have a high frequency lead here on the flop. So those two things are at odds. It's like either you develop the leading strategy or you build out a very robust check raising strategy, but you can't be devoid of both, right? You can't just lazily check call, because now you've absolutely sacrificed EV with your range and you become too easy to play against.
Yeah, that's what I said. I when he originally showed me this hand, he was like, I think I liked the check raise over the lead, but I didn't like check calling because it's
fine. I don't prefer any of these options over the other.
Okay,
right? It's just more of a matter of like, what does it do to my turn strategy?
Right.
So like I feel confident going through all three of those nodes, entering into turns. I would say that this hand probably prefers, like in order of what it prefers to do, it probably, I would guess, prefers to lead, check call, check raise, in that order.
That's funny because I wanted to check raise.
Yeah, I was.
But I might be splitting hairs. Like,
yeah, right. That's true. I kind of looked at it like check calling leaves you the least likely to win the hand without improvement. But
yeah, but the thing is
get
that
to bet a lot of turn cards.
maybe that's just too shallow a way of looking at the hand.
I think you just get to bet a lot of turn cards. Like there's a lot of turn cards that hit his range.
Yeah,
It
so
just allows
like
him
the
to do
check
things.
call lead, which like we talked about before, was like kind of
in
like
lieu of a check raise.
Right. Yeah.
Matt, in terms of each street, which one was probably if you had to guess, the biggest blunder? Actually, I don't think I had a blunder.
You didn't have a blunder. I just think your mechanics are off. I think the turn size is too large, and I think the river size is too large.
Turn and river. Okay.
I think like, your opponent almost certainly had like 9-10 or other clubs.
What it's worth.
He might have folded better hands. Like he might have like 4x of clubs or 7x of clubs.
Does he ever fold an overpair?
Yeah, probably.
I think
almost certainly.
overpairs are indifferent, like on the river.
For sure.
Yeah.
A hand like nines, maybe.
A hand like nines should probably fold. Yes.
Yeah, call turn, fold over.
Yeah, a hand like nines, a hand like 10s. These hands should probably call fold, but like hands that unblock your bluffs, which will be like a lot of 9x, 10x, should probably start calling. Like I would imagine like jacks, queens, kings, and aces call at some frequency, especially if they have no club. Although like once you get into the aces and kings, now having a club probably isn't a problem because you shouldn't be bluffing. Like you shouldn't be taking as, so that's the thing. It's like when you categorically think about, like, let's just talk about strictly flush draws. When we're categorically talking about flush draws on this particular texture, you would rather check raise a hand like king 10 of clubs than a hand like jack 3 of clubs.
Because now you have overs as well?
Yeah, you have overs, you have more equity, but also these hands won't like the purpose of these hands is to reduce the SPR such that some of the time we can just be all in on the turn if we turn favorably or whatever. But more importantly, like these hands just won't really they're like right in between having showdown value and not having showdown value, and you get positioned into a weird spot whenever you have high SPRs on rivers, because you'll just land up with king high like you did with jack high, right? So like 2 overs and a flush draw that have high enough equity that you can push it early in the streets and play for stacks becomes very favorable. Likewise, your combo draws are very much the same, because they're ultimately going to either have a pair or they're going to block the nuts. Therefore, they can still function as a river bluff for you. So you can take them through either of the nodes. The reason why I think like Jack 3 would prefer to, first of all, start with a lead, or secondarily start with a check call, is because it doesn't improve in a good enough, like in a beneficial enough way to become a multi-street bluff. And that becomes problematic. Like basically juggling our flush draws here becomes a big problem, in the sense that whenever we do go for like this 2-street bluff like we did in this particular instance, we want him to have these types of cards. So we really want him to have Jack 10 of clubs. We want him to have Jack 9 of clubs. We want him to have King Jack of clubs or Ace Jack of clubs. Like these hands are very important to be in his range, because when the river bricks out, we're still just repping 6x, and we need him to have a lot of nothing. Now, against a fish, it's not going to matter. So if we're talking practicality now, bluffing with clubs is no big deal, because he's just going to massively overfold his overpairs, right? Like you're jamming. Like that's why I don't think jam on the river is a thing, but it can be a thing as an exploit versus a fish, because versus 3x pot, he's just going to look at all of his overpairs and say, I never win. Right. Where the truth is, like,
that's certainly what I want him to think.
Right. But the truth is, you shouldn't ever be jamming like 2 pair or a set. So he actually does win quite often, because he only loses the straights, which now you don't have a lot of. Right. If you had robust value, then he can't really call, because it's hard for you to have enough bluffs to balance that. But the fact is, like, when you land here this way through the check call lead line, you're just repping a 6 or nothing, and you have a lot of nothing. So when he unblocks like 9x, 10x, when he unblocks your clubs, those are very, I don't want to say easy call downs, but they're good hands to bluff catch with, those overpairs. But, VIPs aren't going to find that, or weaker players in your pool aren't going to find that. So it does get a little bit tricky when you start to think about this, because like there's the principal element that you want to think about, which is generally speaking, running 3-street bluffs with clubs are bad. Because we need our opponent to have them. But then there's the exploitative thinking process, where it's like, well, I don't care that I have clubs, because he's going to fold hands that are supposed to call at a reasonably high frequency. Right? The second that the second part becomes true, your cards don't matter much anymore. Right? The second that he starts folding on one-liners, everything that's not the straight or not a set, your 2 cards really don't matter all that much, because the overfold is so vast and so great that you can close your eyes and just bet jam. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's for what it's worth, like at a principal level, I think you played the hand great. Like I think finding the turn lead is very good without looking at the solve yet. Like I think it's gonna be very high frequency.
But you liked either really small or overbet.
I think it's like,
right?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be SPR is like what, 5 on the turn, something like that. So it's 7.
7.
Okay, so I think it's going to be like B40 on the turn, and then something like pot on the river. So if it's B40, then like, yeah, you didn't miss. Like going half is fine. It's just for the wrong reason. Like you didn't know why you were choosing half, but
no, I know why I chose half. It's just my lazy, like, I don't know what size to use bet.
Right.
It was an inaccuracy. It wasn't a
correct. It wasn't an error.
An error.
And understand that it's only B40 in my opinion because of the SPR being so great. Right? Like you want to find a way to be all in with 6x. So I imagine that it might be B40. I could see a world where it's like B75, but I doubt it, because I think that prunes his range too much. I could also see a world where it's just quarter, because now you do want to be betting like 8, 9, 2 pairs.
But you thought overbet was a thing here as well, right?
Not on turn.
Not on the turn.
Definitely not on turn.
So on the turn, it's either really small or big?
I'm guessing not big.
Don't we want to go big just to get stacks in? Like, you want to get more money?
I think that's why it's 40%, not
So
quarter.
to clarify, Berkey, what he said was like, when you are going to lead, you're usually not going to lead like half. You know, you're either going to lead on the smaller side or big, and that not.
But big is very rare.
Right, and that right. So it's not this particular instance, but when you're leading in general.
Right. Because like big here would be 2E. 2E is going to be like 140% pot.
Usually on like when like the one-liners and the like the flush completing, you're usually not going to go really big on those kind of cards.
Correct. Yeah, let's take a look and see what exactly happens here.
Whoops! Oh, whoopsie!
Oh,
That's actually from our last video. Sorry.
Presumptuous here.
Yeah, that was an accident there. Uh-huh.
Happy accident. Okay, so you do play a lot of leads here. You were correct. 45% of your range, and actually, your hand is the only one that pure checks. And that's probably because it wasn't in there. I had to add it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not a defend pre, right?
You were pip too wide.
I was a pip too wide, yeah.
So we were talking
only in these high rake environments.
We were talking about that as well, where we said like, I don't know if this is close, and I said, well, if it's close, just play it.
Yeah, I mean, like that's fair,
right? Like, because you do want to play more hands, especially when you're playing low stakes. You're probably on the better side of the pool, and I think like if you're a pip too wide, you're not going to be losing that much EV. You're probably going to recoup it post flop anyways.
I'm pretty sure they'd be leading Jack 3 suited as well, just like the other.
Well,
Queen 3, King 3, it all leads at some function.
But it's not leading this.
I'm just saying, you said probably because you have to add it. I think that's right.
No. I mean, once you add it, it solves.
Yeah.
It solves.
What did you mean by once you added it then?
Well, I'm just saying that I think like it's expanded your range now to a point where it has to start finding some checks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
If you were to add some other things, then it would change.
If we added some other things, I think there would just be more checking. The wider we get, the more checking will take place for sure. So Jack 3 is the only pure check, and 10-6 is the only pure bet. So that should give you like a fair idea of like how mixed everything is at these nodes. And I also imagine that a big part of Jack 3 being a pure check is that it doesn't have enough high card value to show down, and it doesn't have any straightening properties. Pip, what are you chewing on? God damn it. Where do you find these things? So, like Queen 3 does a little bit of leading because Queen High is just better than Jack High. Also, Jack 3 blocks like hands like Jack 10, which are going to be natural like call folds, and all of those things are pretty good events whenever you are choosing to bet into your opponent. So you forewent the lead with your exact hand. That's good. He's going to I thought his size was a little bit big. What did he go, like 3/4?
Half.
He went half.
He went half? Okay. So he's not that far off.
A little bit bigger than half, but yeah, half.
Yeah. And you can see he bets about half the time. He does have some hands that are like pretty near to pure check. Pocket 3s, pocket 2s, Jack 7 suited is pretty close. 10-8 suited, pretty close to pure check. So basically, like, he just doesn't get to play very aggressively here. Okay, we'll go 2.5. All right, half pot. There we go. This probably won't change it much. So it was 49% bet frequency before, 45 now. So it goes down a little bit. You start to see some more pure checking come in. Those hands that were really close to become pure checks, Queen 5. And notice that it is choosing like a lot of the showdown value hands, like 10-8, Jack 7, Queen 5. These are just pure checkbacks. They'll balance out with like hands like Ace Queen High, another pure check, 4s, 3s, 2s, all pure checks. The hands that are pure checking like are hands that I think a lot of people would want to bet for protection's sake.
I was literally about to say that,
yeah. It's really important to recognize that that's not the case. You don't fold out better very often, and you don't really get called by a ton worse because the board offers so much equity to those hands that you would consider to be worse. Like, sure, if you bet Queen 5, you're going to get called by 5-4, but the equity of Queen 5 versus 5-4 isn't vastly different, and you won't be able to get multiple streets thereafter unless you exactly hit a 5. So I think it's a function of just how these hands derive EV and protecting your check back range in some sort of capacity because you are checking back at a high frequency. Let's see if your hand plays call or raise. So it actually, it mixes. No.
Oh.
But the other ones fold, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So it plays a very small amount of raise. So in order, it actually prefers to check call, check raise, and then donk lead last. But you know, like if you look at a comparable candidate in Jack 4, it's what I said. It prefers to donk, then check call, then never really check raises. Yeah, it's just kind of a function of.
Well, Jack 4 has the straight.
The gut shot.
Has
Yeah,
the gut shot.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's definitely a big byproduct of that. So you are raising here a lot, and you're raising for the small size, which I'm not sure if you would have pulled that in game or not. But so basically you're clicking. He goes 2.55 blinds, you go 5.1. So it's a dead click when you choose to check raise. This is something that I think a lot of people miss.
Yeah, if I'm check raising, I'm making it bigger than that.
Yeah, people try to force stacks to get in on the flop, and the problem with that is that you don't give your opponent a tough decision.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you 2.5 or 3x here, they just get to fold all of their nothing and just continue when they have very clear equity, which is not the desire. But I think people do this because the way that they build their check raising range is to find the highest EV hands to begin with, and just only check raise those. So it's like pair plus draw, it's open ender plus flush draw, and like all these hands that like just have infinite amount of equity, and they're just like, I'm just gonna blast off and like get them to fold. Well, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice, because a hand like 10-6 of clubs is a relatively big favorite versus ace queen red.
Yeah, a lot of people just want to win the hand right now, and that's it's a
not make future decisions.
It's such a problem, right? Like you said, like because you don't get to choose that, right? And like, sure, you make it huge, well, they're just folding everything they would have folded for a small.
I mean,
size.
in this instance, you kind of do get to choose. Like the smaller size really puts them in a bad spot whenever they have just those naked overs. Like, look, if we straight click here, and then we look at a hand like ace king for our opposition, pure fucking call.
Yeah.
How many people are going to find that? You know what I mean? Like, look how many of these hands have to play pure call and then figure it the fuck out on future streets. You're talking about like ace king, ace queen suited, front door, back door, which I mean, like, whatever. That hand is pretty obvious, I guess, anyway. But now you're talking about like queen 10 has to figure out when to call and when to fold. And it's only when it has front door, back door. Right? So like it's now supposed to fold the other ones. Whereas like jack 10 has to just like, I mean, it's not supposed to c-bet all 4 combos, but like people are going to make errors. And now it has to like continue with jack 10 of hearts and try to figure out how to navigate that on future streets. The offsuit broadways, these are especially going to be tricky for them because like they're only going to have one suit to choose from. So it's like if they have queen jack off, they continue when they have the queen of clubs, they fold otherwise. But then sometimes they raise when they have the jack of clubs.
Matt, you're talking about the response versus a donk?
No, versus a min raise.
Okay.
So if you check min raise. So like, yeah, you give your opponent fits by playing tough rather than by playing easy. We instead continue through a call, which is reasonable. Find the turn 4 of what?
Hearts.
4 of hearts. Yeah. And I imagine you're going to play a high frequency lead here, probably like 66%. Oh, half that. So about 33%. And your hand does qualify. Literally dead down the middle, splits between leads and checks. So you get to do what you want. I was initially right in that it's only the small size.
And what is the size? Sorry.
25%. So we can give it your size too and see if it adds it in at all. Let's just get rid of the all in. I don't think it'll pick it, but maybe it'll split the range here. Yeah,
it did.
No, it didn't.
Oh, it did?
It didn't pick it. And we can try a larger size to see if the greater disparity matters. So let's look at 75% now. I still don't think it'll pick it. There's just like no incentive to go that big. Yeah, so it's only a quarter. It's your pure size, and you do have some hands that are very close to pure leads.
So when we bet a quarter there, what hands is he folding?
Well,
look at all those. Yeah, well,
he folds 30% of the time. So he has like king 2, king 3, no flush draw. Queen 10 is a pure fold. Queen jack, if it's not clubs, is so all of his backdoor spades are now pure folding.
You gotta remember the flop only went bet call too, so all of his bluffs and air like all goes in the muck.
Right, and he bets
all
like
these
half the
broadways.
time on the flop. when we won check 2? Is
yeah,
that what it was?
roughly half. And if he's betting too often, he's only going to have more difficult.
folds.
Like he's going to have ace queen off where he's not
Right.
supposed to.
Right.
And then like look, he plays raise. It's not about what he folds either, right? It's about how he responds. He plays raise with ace jack off. He almost pure raises ace 9 off. Like literally pure raises ace 9 off, ace of clubs.
That's crazy.
That's such a good event for us when we have a 6.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Obviously he raises all of his 6x, but then he gets in the mix with like ace deuce, ace 3, ace 4. Like people just aren't finding these, so you're putting them in hell when you're leading for this small size because they need to find ways to respond with all of their nothing. And of course, like when they have draws or pairs, it becomes relatively easy. He's supposed to raise kings and queens here. He's supposed to raise jacks, like just immediate value.
Is it to just get
and
value
denial.
and then get the showdown?
Yeah, it's denial, right? Like
Right.
It takes away the ability to bluff the river. It's immediate value versus like the pair plus type of hands.
Yeah.
The 8-9s, the 8-10s, the 7-9s.
Remember, you're leading 33% of the time, so you have a lot of hands that are not just a 6.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're leading a lot of your 7x. You're leaning on that. You're leaning a lot on your 8x. You can see queen 8 is nearly a pure lead. You're leading a lot of your draws, a lot of your hands that can still improve.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket 10, nearly a pure lead. Obviously, all of your 6x is mixing. This is what I find to be most fascinating. You're leading here at a pretty high frequency with a lot of hands that are only one pair type of hands that show down. And the amount of 6x that you're utilizing to balance it isn't really all that great. So if we take a look at filters, we can see that only 11% of our range is a straight, and we're only leading with like 40% of that 11%. So, basically like there's a lot more of a concentration to our top pairs, our over pairs. What else are we leading at a high frequency? Our bluffs, our ace highs. 19% of our range is ace high. We're leading like a quarter of that range. But it all comes down to like the equity bucket, right? Like when you look and see how we're leading, it's mostly coming from the 80+% equity and then the nothing. So like 0 to 25% and then like a little bit of the middle. The 60 to 70%. So the 60 to 70%, this is mostly going to be like our flush draws that are live, and our 7x type of hands are like middle range showdown, 8x, the pocket 10, stuff like that. The 80.
I was always under the impression when you're in the middle of the range there that you're just trying to get to showdown, that you don't really turn those hands into bluffs.
You're not bluffing. You're protecting, right? Like ace 8 leads, ace 9 pure raises. That's a good event for ace 8. Whereas like ace 8 checks, ace 9 probably checks back almost always. You just have to play the game. Like it's not straight or no straight. It's not nuts or air. We're not to that point in the game tree yet. And I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Like the 4 is a fortuitous card for your range. So we're incentivized to play lead. The same way, like if the turn were an ace, you would be incentivized to play check and he would be incentivized to play bet. You have to follow those incentives. You're incentivized to lead, which means he's now incentivized to defend wider than straights and draws. So now he has to figure out how to juggle that portion of his range.
Just like when the ace comes, you're not just check folding your pair. Like,
right. Correct.
Because, because he's going to lead a lot. He's supposed to.
So let's see what happens when we do.
So you're forcing Wiz to do half now, right?
Yeah, I'm going to force it for your size. I imagine the lead frequency is going to go way down because it's going to be difficult to juggle. Like you're leading so many one pairs, they just can't do this for half. So it's all the way down to 10%.
Yeah.
Which puts you in a much more challenging situation trying to figure out. So actually your hand becomes a much higher frequency lead, as does like queen 10 of clubs, hands that can potentially bluff twice. But it's very challenging then to find out the other hand you'll round it out with. Like you can't lead that much 6x because you need it in your checking range. And I'll be curious to see what happens like if we were to choose check and he bets. So he only has one size if that's the case. He bets about 40% of the time. Do we raise a lot is the question. About 12%. Your hand becomes a pure check raise on the turn if you check it, which makes sense because it was pretty incentivized to lead. And then now all of our 6x that's played this way, with the exception of ace 6, and Jack 6 are really high frequency check raises. So yeah, it's like it really comes down to like working these strategies out ahead of time so that you can choose the best option in real time. He's supposed to raise you here versus size, still a high frequency, 15.6% of the time. Again, a lot of protection raises, aces, kings, queens. Obviously, just immediate value raises in 8s and 7s, pocket 6s, queen 6, king 6, ace 6, nearly pure raising, pocket 5s, high raising frequency. And then like some of the pair plus, so he'll block like your 2 pairs and still have a backdoor flush draw, or sorry, front door flush draw. So like king 4 of clubs. You see in there the combo draw, king 9. Oh, actually, it's not the combo draw. It's king 9 of spades that's going for it. Then hands like king 10 of clubs, king jack of clubs. These are going to mix in raises. King queen of clubs, nearly pure.
Man, it feels so fishy to raise with like aces and kings on this board.
It does. But I imagine, I mean, we can look. I imagine you just don't jam that often. You probably just trap. All in still a lot. Yeah, I mean, you click a little bit.
You only raise really 12% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you mostly just play call. And it's like just your naked 6x that wants to put more money in the pot. Like pocket 6 is just traps because your opponent doesn't have a 6 very often. So you want to let them bluff it off. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. You're not going to face the raise very often, obviously, which makes that pretty exploitable. River's a deuce. And you actually do play a lot of jams here.
Heyo.
Not with your hand.
Oh.
What does my hand do? Can you hover over the jack 3?
It's what I thought. It mixes between give up and like normal sizing.
So the
I see a
the
sliver
all
of
in for
Yeah, it's a tiny little sliver of all in, but it's losing. Right. It's 0 EV to bet 13.8. It's 0 EV to check, but you're losing like. I mean, it's kind of solver noise.
And what is this preferred
Man, we
bet
don't know how to
size?
read numbers. We only see colors.
Would you
And
say?
that's purple.
I said, what
there's a little tiny purple in there.
What's his preferred
Right, but it's
bet size?
losing. 3/4.
Can you show me?
Two-thirds,
Can you show me where I don't see that where it shows that it's losing money?
It's ever so slightly, and it might be solver noise, but like it's making basically 0, betting the proper size, making basically 0 by checking, and it's losing very small by going all in.
Okay.
So it's just basically finding hands to like. It's not enough EV for the solver to care, and it needs to find enough hands to jam at balance. But the important thing is that like this hand does qualify as a give up, as does like well, I mean, I guess your pairs are obviously going to give up. Like, let's sort by suits and see how many of them bluff. Okay, so it looks like king, queen, and king 10 are actually the ones that you yeet the most. These are going to be the biggest part of your all-ins. Which I guess I was wrong because it looks like king 10 gets here with a lot of these candidates, so it takes this line specifically often, whereas I thought it would actually prefer check raise on the flop, but king, queen being like, a comparable hand candidate is not taking this line. Neither is king jack. These are going to be like really, really high frequency check raises on the flop. So yeah, you don't really land here that often through this line work with busted clubs. When you do, they mostly give up. Like jack 10 gives up, king 9 gives up, which king 9's interesting because I think a lot of people fall into the trap of well, it blocks 9-6, but that doesn't matter. Your opponent doesn't have 9-6.
Right.
What does matter is it blocks 9-10.
Mm-hmm.
It blocks king 10. It blocks all these other hands that you're trying to get to
Same
fold.
with the jack 10.
Yeah, same with jack 10. And then obviously the 7Xs, they just show down. So there's no need to bluff those ever. Really, it just comes down to like king queen doesn't really remove all that much out of your opponent's range. Just, king high. It basically just removes king queen of clubs. King jack of clubs, queen jack of clubs. So a few of those, but I imagine that those hands are also supposed to play raise at some point on turns. And a lot of that is what this comes down to is, you have to remember that the solver is assuming that your opponent is acting responsibly and hitting their mixes as well, which they're obviously not. So a lot of times when it's choosing river bluff candidates, it's predicated off the fact of like, oh, well, the hands that I block that are negative actually aren't that important because they should have exited the tree earlier either through a turn raise or through a flop raise or what have you. Therefore, he has such a low frequency of these hands anyway. It doesn't matter that I block the king of clubs and the queen of clubs, right? Like, he doesn't have that many king high flush draws or queen high flush draws. Does line work anyway? But in reality, where people just default to binary thinking of call, bet, that type of stuff, it does skew in certain directions, right? Like, now maybe Jack 3 does become a much better bluff than a hand like King Queen, because perhaps your opponents will raise Jack 10 of clubs often on the turn, but never raise King Queen of clubs.
Right.
You know, something along those lines. Or even that they'll raise jacks on the turn, but never kings. Like, you know, that type of stuff where you're no longer blocking their folds. So yeah, jamming it all in, not bad at all from a strategy standpoint. It happens a lot more often than I would have suspected. Again, wouldn't have chosen your hand to do that, but that's kind of okay. I think principally, again, you're like along the right lines. And then as far as like what he's supposed to be calling, yeah, no surprise. Like,
Nuts.
kings mixes, queens mixes,
Even some of his eights.
eights is a set. Oh,
Well,
you mean
no,
8x?
it's
8x.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's gonna block some of his value. Like, when we look at what he's value jamming, you can still see that there are no, I guess not.
A lot of sixes in there.
Yeah, it's only really 6x and bluffs. It's only 6x and bluffs.
Yeah.
So I imagine it has to do with like the kicker of the 8. So like
that
ace 8.
It's not the jack or the 10.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you want them to have those
Correct.
for bluffs.
Correct. Yeah. And also you just need to like start finding calls that aren't straights. So like two pairs are calling here. Sets are obviously calling. All straights are calling. Yeah, you don't have to reach too far, but like, again, you know, we're not that surprised that queens and kings and aces are mixing in calls here at some frequency. Whereas, like I said, if you lock your opponent, I wonder if this will work this way. I don't think it will. But let's see. Let's see if we can lock him to overfolding and see if that now changes your turn jam strategy. I don't think Wizard AI works this way, but this will be a fun way to test it.
Can you explain what you're doing right now?
I'm locking his river calls on the end to being too tight. So I eliminated all of his overpairs and stuff like that. Oh, I see what it did. It just started to add in different hands. So it's still just like, no matter how much. I do think there's a way to do this. I think I can
reduce
lock
his
all.
call.
Set strategy. Hold. Whoops. God damn.
Can you just reduce his call percentage?
No, because it will just like I can, but it will just like keep taking other hands.
Yeah.
9-8, get that out of there. And then I want to lock all. There. That's how you do it. Okay, yeah. So now it's reduced that calling strategy. I still have like 10s in there a little bit, but whatever. So basically now he's massively overfolding. And I want to see if retroactively that means that it changes what you jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you jam almost 60%.
Yeah, Jack 3 is a.
So this is exactly what I was saying. Once we know, like, if you know that overfold is taking place, if you just know, like, okay, if he has an overpair and I jam here, he always folds it, you get to play with reckless abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that you even have another sizing here is because some of these hands are too strong to bluff, like 10s and jacks. They can just get called by an 8, right? Like, so you just block because you'd rather earn a quarter pot with these hands. And there's almost no incentive to play check because he has such a massive overfold baked in to his strategy, right? So, you can pretty much eliminate now the 2/3. Well, you can't actually. This is where it becomes complicated. Like when you're dealing in the exploits, you actually have to bet according to your hand strength because you already know the outcome of your opponent's strategy.
Did you lock his 2-pair, or did you lock his calls to 2-pair plus?
Correct. Yeah. And now if we start to even get tighter, where it's only like straights
Yeah,
and sets.
because I mean, out there in the wild, man, you're gonna see a lot of them just turning over like, oh, I flopped top 2. They show you 7-8, and they're like, I just flopped top 2 pair.
100%.
You obviously have the 6, so I just fold.
100%.
Right? So like that, like you start taking out the 2 pairs, and now all in is like up to like 75% or something.
Nice life
crazy.
though. That you obviously have the 6 fold. They fucking look at me and like, I know you have the 6, but I'm calling anyway because
you do have the 6, Conrad. They know.
Well, they always fucking call it. I don't have the 6.
Conrad has the 6.
Hey, guys.
But yeah, this is an interesting thing that occurs here because now what happens is when we're in exploit land and now we're out on, basically playing with clairvoyance, we want to bet according to the strength of our hands. So you can see our sets don't want to jam because they garner an overfold.
Yeah.
And now what happens is you jam 5s, you only get called by 8s.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right now we just get fucked.
But if we get paid, right?
Well, we get paid if we bet 2/3.
Yeah.
Right. So if we bet 2/3, now he calls with 2 pair. Now he calls with some of his over pairs, yada yada yada, and we actually earn value for these types of hands. And you can see that it forces like a bluff with like 5 deuce. But once we get into like super exploits where we're just pretty confident with how they're going to respond, there's no need to go this route. Like anything that 5 deuce folds out, it's beating. Right? Like by betting 5 deuce for 2/3, you're just getting like busted flush draws to fold, busted straight draws to fold. Because we know, like we understand what his calling frequency is going to be. He's not really folding 1 pair all that often, right? That's why we're betting the sets here. And then likewise, we're just getting like really thin value for Jackson 10s because there's no incentive to ever have a check, right? Like none of our bluffs want to give up. So we really have no desire to check. If we check with no bluffs, then we're just checking like hands that are bluff catchers, and we don't expect him to bluff all that often. So actually what ends up happening is the strategy just converges on 2 sizes, where it's like thin value and then over bluff. Mm-hmm. And those are the only 2 things that we operate on. And you can see that the 6 actually jams quite often.
Because it wants to get called by the set in the 2 pair.
Correct, but I would probably split that. I would probably like...
Just to have some 6x in the year.
Well, because I'm not confident he's calling with 2 pair of sets.
Right.
I know he's overfolding.
True too, yeah.
If he's overfolding, then yeah, that makes
sense. I don't want to get...
it's hard to pinpoint the
exact line,
like the threshold of where he does fold.
Precisely.
Does he fold the 2 pair? Does he fold the sets? I don't know.
Precisely. So I want to make sure I get my thick value for 67%, and I'm utilizing the 3x all in as just a straight up bluff. Mm-hmm. Because I know he doesn't call anywhere close to correct.
Right.
And most people will sleep well with that at night because they also think that you're not bluffing enough for 3x pot. Yeah. They just think like, oh, that was a lazy jam with a 6.
Right. Like maybe like your 9-6 will definitely be the jam because then you just catch him.
And to be fair,
6.
they're right. I never bluff, so it was a good fold by him.
Bang bang, baby.
So what do we think? Thumbs up?
So all in all,
down?
thumbs up. Yeah, for sure. You played this one very well. Most importantly, I think you thought about the spot incredibly well, even if mechanically you were a little bit off. That turn lead size, we kind of spoke about that quite a bit.
Well, yeah, that one's ingrained now for sure.
Yeah. Quarter is definitely going to be the size. Like I said, there are a few unique situations where you'll get to go like 3/4 or 2E, whatever the case may be. But very rarely will it be like on a 1-liner or a 4 flush or a 3 flush or whatever, unless it's like a 3 or 4 bet pot. That's kind of like the
where they
difference.
never have a 6
exactly.
and you have it at
Precisely. If you guys would like to submit your own In the Muck, please head over to our Discord. You can hit hashtag Discord in the chat or go to @onlyfriends_pod. It is the pinned comment. We have an entire community set up there for study as well as for the In the Muck segment. Feel free to submit. We'll cover one of yours on the air. Big shout out to GTO Wizard, our sponsor, who covers In the Muck. If you guys are interested in GTO Wizard AI, which is the software I've been using to dissect these, hit hashtag Wizard in the chat. Go ahead and follow that affiliate link and sign up on our behalf. I think that's about it. Oh, no.
Steve-O.
I hate to end on a sad note. Yesterday, the poker world and the music world alike, more so the music world, lost an absolute legend. Unfortunately, we saw the passing of Steve
Albini.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't want to mispronounce. Steve Albini. You may know him as one of Brandon Shack Harris's closest friends. Brandon's been on the podcast multiple times, speaks very highly of Steve. Steve's much more of a legend in the music community, although he does have a lot of prowess in the poker community, specifically mixed games. But he was one of the producers for Nirvana.
He's a bracelet holder.
He's a bracelet holder indeed.
Man's done everything.
Passed away at 61 of a heart attack. If you guys want to hear more about Steve and Brandon's relationship, you can check out Last Call, Season 2, Episode 3. It's called Shaq and Steve. We previewed this once before, but really fascinating guy. Never had the good fortune of getting to meet him, but so many people speak incredibly highly of him. It seems like it's just a very big loss for both communities, and we're sorry to see it happen. On that note, on that down note,
one more thing, unfortunately.
No. On that note, we'll see you guys tomorrow.